This is Mac OS Ken.
IDC on the smartphone space, Microsoft's attempt to counter MacBook Neo, and lots of Apple activity ahead. It is Thursday, the 16th of April, 2026. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Clean My Mac, keeping Macs running smoothly since 2008. Try 7 days free and use my code MacOSKen20 for 20% off at clnmy.com/MacOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. Counterpoint Research and IDC are singing similar tunes when it comes to smartphones, though they are not in total harmony, especially not on iPhone. While Counterpoint saw a decline in smartphone shipments last quarter of 6% versus the same quarter a year earlier, a release from IDC has that firm seeing a shorter drop of 4.1%. While Counterpoint only saw shipments growing for one of the world's top 5 smartphone makers, IDC saw growth for 2. And while Counterpoint saw iPhone leading the first quarter for its first ever first quarter lead, IDC says, yet no. IDC put Samsung on top with growth of 3.6% to Counterpoint's drop of 6%. Apple came in second on the IDC side with growth of 3.3% to Counterpoint's growth of 5%. IDC credits semi showing to strong demand for the new Galaxy S26 Ultra, despite a later than expected arrival. As for Apple, the firm says its second place finish was driven by strong performance for the iPhone 17 series, which saw significant growth in China of over 30%. This led to a 3.3% year-over-year increase in global sales for the first quarter. Although demand remains robust, supply disruptions and a reduction in channel support in some key markets have hindered growth. That is the first I've heard about that where Apple is concerned. Now, I've been highlighting differences between the firms to this point, but there is one thing on which they agree.
RAMnarök.
IDC Senior Research Director for Worldwide Consumer Devices Nabila Popal is quoted as saying, "The smartphone market has entered one of its most challenging periods, driven by acute memory supply constraints that are directly impacting both shipments and demand. Limited memory availability is forcing shipment reductions, while sharply higher memory prices are pushing up bill of materials cost and forcing price hikes by many top brands. Plus, war." Popal says rising component, energy, and logistics costs due to the recent war in the Middle East compound downside risks on the market outlook and pressure global smartphone demand. Oh, and it's not going to get any better anytime soon. Anthony Scarcella, IDC Research Director for Mobile Phones, says the 4% decline in the market is just a sample of what's to come as the memory situation intensifies on all fronts. Developed markets like the U.S. that focus on premium models and with incentives such as trade-in and financing will be less susceptible to the overall impact of price increases. However, emerging markets that focus on sub-$200 devices will offer consumers very few options, as the growing cost of memory components will represent a larger challenge than what the pandemic delivered over 5 years ago. Did he just say worse than COVID? Sounded like he said worse than COVID, didn't it? Looks like I picked the wrong decade to quit sniffing glue. Microsoft has adjusted its plan to fight MacBook Neo. I told you earlier this week that Mr. Softy had jacked the price of Surface devices, both tablets and traditional PCs. Seemed an odd move considering Apple's recent introduction of the low-cost MacBook Neo, but
RAMnarök.
Also, Redmond now has a plan. free stuff to go along. 9 to 5 Mac says the company is running a new Microsoft College Offer promotion. The piece says U.S. college students participating in the promo can get 12 months free of Microsoft 365 Premium, 12 months free of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and a free custom Xbox controller with the purchase of an eligible PC. But you have to be new to the services. So if you've already got Xbox Game Pass, no free sub for you, and same goes for Microsoft 365 Premium. Participating PC makers include Acer, Asus, Dell, HP, Lenovo, and Microsoft with its very own Surfaces. If it feels fairly early for a college offer, yeah, you're not the only one who thinks so. One person's quoted in the report saying the timing feels like an early reaction to the $599 MacBook Neo, which they point out starts at $499 for college students. Google has launched a native Gemini AI app for Mac, but are you sure you wanna? Mac Rumors says the data giant, which used to be great at search, didn't it? Anyway, Google is said by the piece to be the last of the big three AI services to have a dedicated Mac app, following in the footsteps of OpenAI and Anthropic. The piece says Gemini for Mac can be activated with a keyboard shortcut, and it has built-in tools for generating images, analyzing what's on your screen, reviewing files, and more. Why would I ask if you're sure you wanna? Because artificial intelligence apparently sucks yours. Your intelligence, I mean. It sucks your intelligence. Engadget ran a piece on Wednesday that had researchers in the UK and the US conducting a study on what AI does to our brains. According to Engadget, the results are, in a word, grim. The results were published in a paper called AI Assistance Reduces Persistence and Hurts Independent Performance, which kind of tells you everything you need to know. While it's really helpful in the moment, researchers say AI assistance comes at a heavy cognitive cost. The transatlantic Poindexters indicate that just 10 minutes of using AI made people dependent on the technology, which led to worsening performance and burnout once the tools were removed. I don't like the drugs, but the drugs like me, huh? What they did was give 350 Americans a math test, which right there, kind of a non-starter. Half could use OpenAI's GPT-5 for help, while the other half had to use their unassisted brains. Halfway through the test, researchers cut off access to the AI assist. This led to a steep decline in correct answers by the AI group, according to the piece, with many instances of people simply giving up. The same happened when they nearly doubled the sample size and, maybe worse, they got very similar results on reading comprehension tests as they got with math. Two caveats worth noting, according to Engadget. The study has not been peer-reviewed, and people who used AI tools for hints and clarification had a much easier time once the chatbot was removed than people who said, "Why don't you just tell me the answer?" And now, an apology to my mother. All those times I said, "How do you spell whatever word?" and you said, "Look it up." Surprising no one, Mom knows best. She could have been nicer about it, but whatever. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Clean My Mac, keeping Macs running smoothly since 2008. We've all had it happen. One day we get smacked in the face with how slow and buggy our Macs have gone. Nothing happened, just life, daily use. Macs doing what they do, pick up cookies, duplicate files, and other stuff that slows them down. Keep that stuff from sticking with Clean My Mac. Clean My Mac is less about cleaning your machine than maintaining it, keeping it clean. From deleting unneeded files to fighting malware to general optimization, Clean My Mac works to keep your Mac running fast and friction-free so the things you do with your Mac can be fast and friction-free. Get tidy today. Try 7 days free and use my code MacOSKen20 for 20% off at clnmy.com/MacOSKen. Make MacOSKen all caps in both places. That way they know where you heard about them and you get the discount. Try 7 days free and use my code MacOSKen20 for 20% off at clnmy.com/MacOSKen. Again, MacOSKen is all caps, both places. Use code MacOSKen20 for 20% off at clnmy.com/MacOSKen. While Apple's App Store may be safe, every app in the App Store is not. A number of sites, including Apple Insider, ran stories this week about a fake crypto wallet in the Mac App Store stealing $9.5 million worth of crypto. According to the piece, a number of Mac users this month downloaded a fake version of the Ledger Live app from the macOS App Store. The fake app was submitted by the publisher Leva Heal, which has nothing to do with Ledger SAS, the owner and developer of the real Ledger Live app. It is worth pointing out, when downloading an application, looking to see who published it would be an important thing for consumers to do. That said, it would seem like an important thing for Apple to do first, before they give consumers the chance to download the app from their App Store. The piece cites a Bleeping Computer report saying the malicious Ledger Live app tricked 50 macOS users into giving away their seed and recovery phrases, which let bad actors take their funds in a matter of days. Ledger CTO Charles Gumet points out that the real app will never ask for the Ledger 24-word recovery phrase. If anyone or any app is asking for your 24 words, says the CTO, assume something is wrong. Apple doesn't seem to have offered comment on the issue, though they have taken action. A piece from Mac Rumors says the company has pulled the fake app from the Mac App Store. Very timely. Meanwhile, blockchain investigator Zach XBT suggested Apple could be subject to a class action lawsuit due to the amount of money lost. We'll wrap the day with some Apple activity news. To foggy London town we go, where Apple is hosting free events ahead of the TCS London Marathon. Events and offerings listed by Mac Rumors include an Apple Music Ultimate Marathon Mix playlist. That's 124 songs spanning over 7 hours to provide fuel for the finish line. There's a fitness panel and 5K run starting at Apple Brompton Road. That'll happen next Thursday, the 23rd of April. Space is limited. Registration is open now. Saturday, the 25th of April, takes us back to Apple Brompton Road, where former marathon world record holder Paula Radcliffe and two-time Olympian Chris Thompson will record a live episode of their podcast, Paula's Run Club. Space is limited. Registration is open now. On race day, the 26th of April, Apple Music will put artists and DJs along the marathon's route. Less geocentric, there are a couple of Apple Watch activity challenges hitting over the next couple of weeks. Next Wednesday, the 22nd of April, is Earth Day. As usual, I'll be partying like it's Earth Day and sipping Bacardi like it's Earth Day. If you're looking for a healthier way to pass Earth's mightiest day, there's the Apple Watch Earth Day Activity Challenge. Sometime over the next few days, 9 to 5 Mac says your watch should pop a message encouraging you to record any 30-minute workout with the Workout app or any app that records workouts to health to earn an award. the Earth will think the world of you. 1 week later, Wednesday, the 29th of April, is International Dance Day. As usual, I'll be partying like it's International Dance Day and sipping Bacardi like it's International Dance Day. If you're looking for a healthier way to pass the International Day of Dance, though, there is an Apple Watch International Dance Day Activity Challenge coming up. At some point, your watch should pop the message, "Show off your dance moves for International Dance Day. Earn an award by recording a dance workout of 20 minutes or more on the 29th of April. Record it with the workout app or any app that adds workouts to health." And if you don't know how to dance, here's a tip. Sip enough Bacardi and it will not matter. Well, not to you anyway. Please dance responsibly. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Clean My Mac, keeping Macs running smoothly since 2008. Try 7 days free and use my code macOSKen20 for 20% off at clnmy.com/macOSken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOSken at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macosken.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Everyone's a robot.